All right. I think, let me make sure that it's check, check. I don't see.
Check, check.
How come I hear me?
Check, check.
Okay, I guess there is sound. All right. Morning or whatever. Good evening. Yeah. So, hey, Shiitake. What up? Thank you. Okay. How's everyone doing? I kind of want to bring to life an old topic that really just isn't being talked about enough, I don't think. And I know why. It's only because I'm promoting it and I'm not allowed to be heard. It's just kind of the way things have been since they were made that way. But if anybody does see and kind of looks back, it's kind of easy to see why. I was kind of ahead of the times in a lot of things, and the big, strong, powerful men didn't like that. So we shouldn't be talking solutions, everyone. That's crazy talk. Okay, so yeah, Project Love Your Neighbor was something that, so first of all, it's not like a group or like a hierarchy or like a club you have to be a part of or anything like that. I mean, I think it would be cool. Eventually, I fantasized in the past about building a site with the forum and people in their different locations. And even back then, there were a couple Facebook groups that branched out to people's local area. Um, so, anyways, I am resharing with you an idea that I shared long ago that I think is more important now than ever. Some of us already live it, and some of us are learning. So I want to share with you what Project Love Your Neighbor is about and how you can participate. So again, first of all, it's not a group. I'm not a manager or overseer of anything. It's simply an idea, a way of life that's actually nothing new at all. So I think it would kind of be criminal for somebody to own it. Anyways, but yeah, he had the sites and the Facebook groups and stuff, but you know how Facebook is. So no real communication allowed. It'll get hijacked and steered towards some kind of political blah blah. So many of you know I do a lot of stuff, right? I try to grow everything, and obviously it's unrealistic for me to have, like, say, the Noah's Ark here and Garden of Eden all at the same time, all by myself. That doesn't mean it's not my goal, right? But I mean, reality is we're mostly human and we're kind of limited on things we can do, right? So when I put this idea out there, I was really just trying to promote a better way of life, getting to know your neighbors, sharing your skills, going to your neighbor before you go to the store, right? So, like when you have a list of needs, whatever it is, your house painted, your clothes sewn, tomatoes or fish or whatever, right? Check with your neighbors first and support them before you go to the corporate stores, right? And, I promote small business, survival, and I don't care what the cost is to you, to those of you who say that you want to support small and local businesses. Well, do it, right? Even if you have to drive that extra mile, because that's the only way they're going to be there. And living in days like we are today, like, let me tell you something. If there was a food shortage or some kind of disaster or food rationing or all of these things that we have already had glimpses of, right? But let's just say, some crazy thing happened and that did actually happen. Like imagine if we had to actually live like everyone else in history at some point, right? Everyone else in history has survived a war, had to live through a war, had to live through food rationing, had to live, grow their own, all of these things. Things just happen, right? So, this is something you need to think about. If you're talking about supporting your locals and you're not doing it, who do you think they're going to support if shit did really go down? Let's say they only had food for 20 people. You think you're going to be in their top 20? Right? What if they had food only for their family? Or what if they had food for, say, even 100 people? Maybe they've been prepping and, doing all this stuff for decades and didn't have to have their house taken away and all sorts of fun stuff, right? Yeah. So who are they going to support? Are you in their top 100? The way like the federal government cares for us so much in preventing things like pasteurization free or hormone and antibiotic free meat, dairy, etc. Do you think they're going to be like, oh yeah, hey stranger, sure, it's the end of the world, let me help you with my food supply that could possibly be seen as illegal, right? Or harmful? How many farms and dinners or benefits or things have they destroyed by pouring bleach in all of the farm fresh food they wanted to serve the neighbors, or the milk or whatever, right? So you got to think about that. If you're not putting your efforts with locals and building and sharing your skills, who is going to be there for you when the shit hits the fan? So, speaking of skills, what kind of skills do you have? Have you thought about that? What are you actually nurturing? What are you practicing? What do you have to bring to the table? I know when people talk food or, oh, I'm hungry or whatever, and, you know, then the first thing they do is look for money, right? To go buy food. What if there was nowhere you could buy food? What if there was nobody that you could call to help you build your chicken coop? Right? Or plant your tree, or teach you to fish, or any of these somewhat essential things in life, right? Food, sustenance, water, things like that. So, and I know when I ask people this, they often, they're like, oh, I don't have any skills. And I used to think that about myself too. But you're wrong. Okay. You have many skills. It's just, are you nurturing them? And sometimes there's latent skills that we don't even know we have because we've never even attempted them. But what are your skills? What can you do? Let's say there was no power or city water or internet or a store to go to buy food. What would you do? How could you help your neighbor? How could your neighbor help you? How could you form a working environment? Do you even know your neighbors, right? Most people don't. We're hiding indoors, right? Afraid of the neighbors. When are you going to meet them? Right? Some of the things I suggested back in the day is just like literally get out there and know that, dude, you know what? Bring them bread, bake something, cook something, make some salsa, bring them something from your garden or whatever. Go say, hey, I'm the new neighbor or whatever. And I think it's really important to build community. If you ever need anything or, just call on me. I'm right here. right? Does anybody do that anymore? Am I the last one? I know, thankfully, around here, I did have actually quite a bit of that, more than I have ever had in my whole life, probably combined. So that was super cool. But I mean, what are you doing? Are you waiting for your neighbors to come to you, or are you being proactive and finding out who? What are your name? Are they dentists? Are they lawyers? Are they carpenters? Are they artists? Are they cooks? Are they gardeners? Are they medicine makers? Are they healers? Are they writers? Are they painters? Are you know what I mean? Do you even know? Who could you call on for your needs? And what do you have that you could share? How could you love your neighbor? You going to sit back and beg government to feed someone? Or are you going to find out a neighbor's not feeling well and bring them some food and go mow the lawn or whatever, right? So, Project Love Your Neighbor is about building community, like really doing what you can do, your part to feed yourself and be useful to those around you. And you know what? I guarantee everybody in your neighborhood has a skill, or five, or 10, right? And nobody even knows what they are because you're too busy going to Walmart or calling some corporation to do whatever. When you should be getting with your neighbors and seeing how you can trade or barter or whatever, right? Aw, that's sweet. Coco, you're amazing in every single way. What I wouldn't give to have you as a neighbor. Yeah, except for when you're on a diet. They're like, oh, there she is again, trying to make me eat more shite. But yeah, that's one my neighbors do. So that's a skill, right? So when you meet your neighbors, find out who they are, what they do, what they love to do. Share who you are, what you love to do, what you do. You know, when I meet my neighbors here, I tell them, I'm like, come here, dude. You see this? Yeah, I'm the medicine woman. This is where you'll come when you can't get to hospitals, right? And they all pretty much know what I'm doing here with the Food Forest Project, Church of Nature slash Serenity Spring slash work as much as I can until it's all complete, right? But I've had some really good help from some neighbors, some very busy neighbors too, that recognize the importance and have offered to help in their skills in things that, you know, you kind of need to make that happen, right? So, especially now that they've all eaten my food and they want more. So, getting my generator up is a high priority to them too, thankfully. But yeah, cooking is a skill, right? Creating recipes is a skill. Wild foraging is a skill. Growing food is a skill. Getting it to stay growing, right, is a skill. Like I'm still picking tomatoes and dude, buttloads of basil where other people already pulled their basil plants, and mine are bigger than ever, even though I've harvested so much, right? Talking to nature is a skill. Shooting armadillos is a skill. Skincare, medicinal skincare, healing oils, that's a skill. Salves or balms or, you know, those are skills. Juicing. Oh, yeah. All right. So this juice is sweet potato, pineapple, and white watermelon. I think that's all I put in this one. Let's see. Mm, mm. So the watermelon wasn't like too sweet. And then there's only like one little pineapple in that big batch, but I added all the sweet potatoes because I like the frothy it gives it. If I would have had oranges, I'd have put that in there too, because orange Julius. back before I knew about chemicals and stuff. But think about that. So before, when you have a need, find out which of your neighbors can support, right? And even if you don't have anything to barter or trade or whatever right now, the act of paying them rather than a corporation, don't you think that's going to help your neighborhood, your community, right? People will be working more, have a couple extra dollars, also gives them an opportunity to get to know each other more and to build that community that really, I don't care if you believe it or not, you're going to need it. And if you don't have it, you're not going to survive, period. End of story. Not going to sugarcoat it, right? There's what, like 500,000 acres burning right now in Oregon, just Oregon and Washington alone. There was over 300,000 acres in fires in the last 2 days just in Washington. You think they might have a need to know their neighbors right now? People losing their homes, losing their businesses, I'm sure losing their food storage or whatever, right? Or maybe their car is burned and they have no way out, or there's all sorts of ors, right? Hurricanes happen, monsoons happen, tornadoes happen, like all these things happen. If you don't know your neighbors, how you gonna get this shit taken care of, right? And don't you feel good when you're there of service to someone in need? So yeah, Project Love Your Neighbor. There is a playlist from 2012. In fact, I think it's in the description of this video, but I'll just get the link here. It's from 2012. All right, and I'll put it in the chat here. There it is. What up, Sonny? Minor piece of shit. I'm sure there's that everywhere. It depends on the degree of POSness. But you know what? There's even piece of shit neighbors have skills. So depending on the degree of piece of shitness, um, it might be time to let bygones be bygones. But I'm not speaking for your situation because I don't know it. So please don't, I'm not trying to, tell you what to do at all. But, I have some people in my life that, you know, we know we can rely on each other, but we don't really want to hang out, if that makes sense. Right. So, all right. Oh, no YouTube and driving. Okay, and leaving Massachusetts mission. State housing. Oh, yeah. See, yeah. That would be rough. I always shied away from things like that personally, but I always knew there were better options elsewhere, like I never understood people like hanging out in the city, fighting for, paying application fees for apartments and waiting lists, and when they could have just driven a little bit outside of town, gone to the country, and you know, better, you have a whole house with a yard and better rent and things like that. Um, yeah, that's tough like that. But I hope that you are able to find your little paradise. Shelter 2.5 years before here. Oh, damn. Shit, that's a long. Wow. I don't know how you did that, man. I was in a shelter for 3 days. That was all I could take. Um, but then my one friend Casey, he was for like at least 2.5 years, something like that too. And then now he's working in one. But yeah, that's intense. I'm not good at things like that. Yeah. Part of your lesson. Oh yeah, I'm sure you learned a lot and got to see a lot and things that people will never understand, and also a deeper appreciation of things that, maybe you wouldn't have if you weren't there. Um, I know that before my homelessness and all that, I thought that I had already experienced, detachment. I've already lost all possessions or everything important or this and that. And nope, there was so much more for me to go. And I'm definitely thankful. It made me a more well rounded person, which again is skills, right? Speaking of Project Love Your Neighbor, like how many people can survive on the streets? Like for reals. How many people can build a shelter, right? Get clean water or, eat bark or start a fire. Like all of those things are skills. Husband. I didn't have a husband or a husband. I had a husband for like 2 months a million years ago, but so maybe like one of my stalkers or something you might be talking about. Ah, okay. So, all right. Cool. Well, hopefully the cool part of the mob. The mob. I don't know. Personally, I have no problem with it. I like how they stick together. Um, just kind of don't mess with them, right? And even out here, like, I'm not one of them, right? Like, kin and family lines and traditions are super important, right? And like, some are nice to outsiders, but even if I lived here for the next 50 years, I would still be an outsider compared to the, locals and generations. But that's okay too. You know what I mean? Um, I think that, if you find your group, your tribe, stick with it. That doesn't mean that you should, kick everyone out. But once you know who you can trust, you kind of have to keep it. And in my opinion, it's not worth jeopardizing with, say, random fly by night riffraff, right? Hmm. Your dad taught you well. Good. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not against any of that. There's like hillbilly mafias, redneck mafias, Mormon mafias, Mexican mafias, Greek mafias, Jewish mafia, Russian mafia. There's all sorts of, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, everything has its place, but it's kind of like if you're in, say, the mob or whatever, you have a need, there's like 15 people in your Rolodex you can call that can handle whatever job, right? That's how things should be in real life for the rest of us non mobsters. You know what I mean? And when you look at like everything really. Okay, so Google or Big Brother, all of their different agencies and conglomerates and everything, they stick together, right? So why can't we? Why won't neighbors stick together? Why won't one small business help support another small business or promote them? Like, perfect example in my show, Soul Journeys. Like, I promoted everyone. You notice none of them promoted me? They didn't have me on their websites. They didn't have, no, it was all like one way, right? But when you go anywhere else in Google land, you always find the same people connected, maybe in different ways or different business names, but it's always the same thing. Why can't we do that? Because you know what? If the little people did stick together and stand up, we wouldn't be so little. So let's talk. Whoever is still in the chat, like, what are your skills? What do you have to bring to the table? What are you working on? What are you capable of sharing with your neighbor? Like, if you had a flood and their car got stuck, would you be able to pull them out? Or would you just have a blanket? Or, you know what I mean? Like, all of those things are important. And I think getting to know them before you need them is much better than waiting until after and then scrambling, right? Like, we should have those Rolodexes. I'm trying to build mine. Like, I've, you know, definitely met some really amazing key people here that I think at this point pretty much have connections with everything and everyone. Um, yeah, which is kind of cool because I'm making a little progress out there, like with the spring, which is super exciting. And, coming across like woodworkers and tree trimmers and electricians and gas line qualified people and oh, who else? Alarm installers and generator installers, things like that. That's important, right? And especially when you live like way out like I do, you can't just like call someone in the city, you know? But yeah, not one person can do everything, but everyone can do something. So even if you're really good at growing something and suck at the other, well, leave the other to your neighbor, right? Find out what they're really good at and they do that. And then you guys trade or whatever, right? So whether it's fish or fowl, dairy, vegetables, fruit, you know, herbs, even weeds in your yard, dude. That's liquid or dried gold, depending on how you use it. But are you harvesting herbs in your yard or creating some type of medicine cabinet that isn't reliant upon a Walmart pharmacy? You know what I mean? I want to hear what everybody is doing, or, of course, if you have any questions. But I think this is super important to start promoting. Again, it's not a group, it's not a leadership based organization or club or anything like that. It's just an idea. Project Love Your Neighbor. Get out there, love your neighbor. It's like I even have some videos online where I drive around a corner and then there's a tree and somebody's going to hit it. So what do you do? Do you keep driving and say, oh, the road crew will get it? Or do you pull over and get it? Well, so me and anyone in my cars, we pull over and get it. We handle that problem now because we know if we wait for the road crew, that, people might die before then, or at least just injure their car, right? So, Project Love Your Neighbor is a way of life. It's not a group, it's not something to attend to. It's basically just getting back to basics and doing more of what you love to do, right? So I kill celery pretty much all the time. I'm getting better, but you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be the one for you to rely on celery. You could rely on me tomato, basil, herbs, and some other things, but yeah, I wouldn't be the one to rely on for celery or carrots. I suck at carrots too. So I'm still working on it, but I'm definitely, I wouldn't be able to even feed myself in that department, let alone other people. So, do you know how to make rope? Do you know how to do stonework? Do you know what I mean? Brickwork, or can you sculpt? Can you turn a tree into a fence and a chair? Right? Like all of those things are skills. So, what are your skills? Hmm. I am going to finish this. It's been here a couple hours. Did you notice that one video? I think it was 4 hours long, and I still didn't get the whole dang thing down. It's for fun. It makes me feel cool when I have it in my hand. Yeah. And then, like, the cool people invite me out for their smoke breaks. Speaking of growing, dude, I killed my tobacco twice this year. So that's lame. So I have to rely on somebody who's better than me. But also, I did get here late, and I did accomplish a whole damn lot considering the time frame I got here, and obviously food and things like that were more important. So yay, Sunny's lighting up. Okay, so how are things going for you? Do you have a good community? Do you have, like, say, a group of local businesses that you support? And, tell me what the climate is like there, and if people are coming together more now or less. Yep. Dude, making juice for my garden, it's just so ridiculous. I just can't get over how amazing that feels. And, like, even having enough to share. And obviously, I'm not always going to have fresh juice from the garden, right? But it's been, I have a lot. So far, I've been able to share a ton. But dude, the frozen watermelon, oh my God, you have to do it. Okay. So I de-seeded watermelon, and it's tedious. Obviously, I used my hands, no special tools. And then I kind of mushed it up, blended it up, and put them in ice cubes. And then after they were frozen, put them in bags. But I've been using the ice cubes. Like, sometimes I'll pour my juice in a glass, and oh my God, the longer you let it sit, the more it melts. And then you end up with, like, this super delicious, slushy, mushy, like, fresh watermelon. Oh my God, that is going to be so good in winter. So I'm definitely going to do that more. And I have a whole bunch of big melons coming up. So I had two really big watermelons, but we had a big storm and they knocked them off the vine. So they weren't able to get as big as and ripe and sweet as they should have been. I ate them anyways. And the good news is, so I've been dehydrating watermelon too, which, oh my God, I don't know if there's anything more yummy. It's insane. Like, whoever knew that you could dehydrate watermelon? And by the way, it's mostly water, so it'll take forever to dehydrate. But that candy is, it's amazing. But the ice cubes are awesome too. So I think I'm going to do also the ice cubes with all the melons, and then definitely dehydrate some melons too. But is American spirit bad? Well, I wouldn't say I would I don't think it's as clean as other options. Like, even rolling your own pipe tobacco, I believe, is cleaner. Um I forget who, but they sold out to some corporation, and just cuz there's no added chemicals, they're still buying it from the same, RJ Reynolds and all those other ones that grow with, it's no longer owned by natives on a reservation or anything like that. Um, so I personally try to not support any corporation. So I've had to buy a couple bags of, you know, pipe tobacco to have. I was hoping that mine would work, but the first batch got eaten by Japanese beetles, and then the second batch, I'm not sure what it got eaten by, and then the third batch, I think it was just too late in the season, and we did have like major flood rains like right when I planted the last batch. I was hoping if they started then I could bring them in, but that sucks. So I need to find a better tobacco grower than me because I failed this year. But you see, that's even more reason for a community, right? Shit happens, plagues happen, viruses kind of happen. Like, and I mean, plant viruses or funguses or bacterias. Like I had, because these trees weren't taken care of. What what's it called? Cedar apple fung. I don't know, some kind of fungus from the cedar that went to the what's it called? Cedar rust disease. That's what it is. So that went to a few of the trees, and the yard wasn't maintained or anything before, but then also poisoned the quince. All of the quince fruit was bad. Like I had to cut it way, 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 way back to the point where I wasn't even sure if it would come back. Um, but that happens. Farmers lose crops all the time. So again, more of a reason. Know your neighbors. Who else is producing or doing something, and what can you do for them? And maybe you want to support them either financially or buying their produce or whatever it is they have, or maybe you want to help them by offering to weed or clean out the horse stalls or something like that, because I tell you what, a little act like that is going to go a long way. Just think again, what if there was a time with no stores? Who are the people growing shit going to feed? Is it going to be you? Are you in their top 20 or 100 people? If you're not right now, it ain't going to happen after the end of the world. You know what I mean? So if you're not going the extra mile to support the farmers, wherever they may be, maybe they're next door, maybe they're an hour away, maybe they're 2 hours away. Go anyways. Um, we can't grow here. Huh. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming you're saying that because you live in an apartment. And I used to have an apartment garden, and I used to have a dude on my show that had an apartment garden. And when he started showing it, he started it on his stoop in New York, and then, or at his fire escape, pardon me. And then he kind of got in trouble, but anyways, ended up going to California, did so well teaching that style of garden that he bought a house and has this big farm and everything now. Heather Rhodes of Gardening Know How, who was a regular guest on the show, she lived in Ohio and definitely lived in apartments and everything. And she has the same orange tree today, 20 something years later, that she had then, living in apartments and bringing it in and out and stuff like that. So, like a little come and go garden you can put in a little tote and do some greens and herbs. Like there's always, or ginger, right? There's always something we could do, because anything we do, even if it's just one thing, even if it's just basil or just oregano or just, it's not just food, it's medicine, right? And the more you do for yourself or find amongst your neighbors or community, then the less dependent you are upon the machine that everyone wants to talk shit about. But if you want to talk that much shit about them, why don't you just use that time and not be dependent on them? Because talking shit about them and like begging them to come save you ain't gonna work if y'all haven't figured that out yet. So, yeah, if you are in an apartment, just try, a little box of lettuce. Just get like a little $5 tote, those little or whatever you use them for. Yeah, put some holes, some dirt, and there's actually another way you can do it too. Like if you had a clear one, and then you could just get a bag of soil and cut the edges open and put it on the lid, and then use the top or basically the bottom of the tote as a lid, and then that acts as kind of a greenhouse. So yeah, hopefully you have a balcony, if not a window or something. But even one little thing is just going to help so much. When you see that first bloom, when you see that first fruit, or you get to clip or harvest whatever for the first time, and, then start, yeah, it might make you feel real good. What soil do I like best? Well, what's around? That's where you have to start, right? So, honestly, okay, I'll answer that question only because I do have a favorite soil, but I have no access to it. But that Michigan black soil, oh my God, like in the Peppermint Gym farm, oh, dude, that black, rich, that's some beautiful soil. Other than that, like really soil, you make it good by amending it. So, for the most part, if you're starting with local soil, or if, and I had all of that here. I had a few different deliveries of local soil. Some was better than others. In fact, the first one was so bad, I had to run out to Home Depot. I know, quick, like, because it was like choking my plants. It was so much clay and wasn't draining. And yeah, so I bought like, I had only so much compost, right? Because I've only lived here so long. But I bought compost, like mushroom compost, manure, peat moss. I threw a bunch of cardboard or basically anything paper. I don't have any trash here or like trash pickup or anything like that. So all paper that goes in the house ends up composted or in a garden somewhere, or cardboard mailed or this and that. If there's plastic, then I hold on to it for when I get to mail my products out, or pictures or things like that. But yeah, and then food waste, it goes to feed an animal or a soil, right? And a lot of times I don't know, I guess I would call it compost in place. So when weeds come up that I'm not using, so like the grass ones or stuff like that, I pick them and then I just put them right on the soil. Or even in some cases, when I pull out a plant that isn't too giant, then I just leave it right there on top of the soil. And because it's fall, as things get a little later, I'll be mulching more and refilling the beds with more soil and stuff, even though they're all planted for fall. I have fall garden stuff coming up, like beans, peas, cauliflower, broccoli, radishes, greens, mustard, kale, bok choy. I don't know if I said peas, cauliflower, yeah. I don't know. Oh, onions. Oh, I got to eat some garlic. Oh, from my garden. It was so yummy. Okay, but we're talking about how to love your neighbor. So I'll tell you what, like spicy dill pickles from the garden and the stuff that I spiced and dilled them with also came from the garden. So that's a good way to make friends. Or that butternut gingerbread kind of helps. And lasagna. Lasagna is probably my most valuable currency I have here right now. Like, the cure cancer, fuck that. Give me some lasagna. whatever, if that's what you want, I'll do more of it. Whatever it takes to get you to chop down this tree. But yeah, your soil, you build it as you go. So as time goes on, your soil should be getting better, not worse, right? So constantly feed it. You could also make compost tea, um, herbs. Like I throw, and when I pick off the basil tops, because I have plenty of seeds and things, I just throw that right in there, just like the tomatoes, even the squash vine or the green beans. I just let them compost right there. Then I'll cover it up with mulch, and by next season, it'll be nice, beautiful, loose soil. So, but it was hard starting here, that's for sure. Um, yep. So, any questions about Project Love Your Neighbor? So there is a group on Facebook, Project Love Your Neighbor. Of course, with me being banned for all but 9 days of the past 5.5 months, and this is kind of like a repeated thing. Pretty much my groups and pages are kind of dead. You can't really maintain them when you're not allowed to be there, when you're not allowed to communicate with people, and when you try to promote your stuff and then you get your account blocked. And so that kind of sucks. Speaking of Project Love Your Neighbor, if you have tried my products and you love them, then please share them with your neighbor, and that will help people like me stay in business. So I can help you heal for painlessly. So, speaking of which, I got this really cool testimonial today. Um, one woman has been using it for her whole family. She initially got it for herself, for her face, like for acne and age spots and stuff. But then she loved the smell and then wanted to use it to condition her children's head. Well, one of her babies has had like alopecia, like bald spots on her head, literally since birth. And then she put this on it, and in 3 days, all the itching, the redness, the swelling, everything went away. And in 30 days, the hair was grown back. Like that, they were bald spots since birth, and now they're covered in hair. So that's pretty insane because she also used it successfully for stretch marks and eczema and what's the lip stuff? I don't know. Her kids had really bad. She couldn't get rid of it for anything, any of that stuff, in fact. And that just kind of went and erased it all. So, yeah, love your neighbor and share my true essence, because some people might want to pamper themselves while healing and smell really good. And by the way, there's a video of that testimonial on the channel. I uploaded it earlier today. It's called Island Dreams, My True Essence testimonial. And then I just added a little intro. So they were cell phone videos, and it was so hard to like transfer and then do an online converter and then, like all this crazy stuff to make them work. I uploaded them on Instagram earlier, and that's my True Essence Instagram. I didn't know that the videos were going to come out all distorted and no sound. So the real video that actually works, that you can see and hear, is here on YouTube. But yeah, that's one of the things when I meet the neighbors, because they all kind of want to share what they do. And I'm like, well, I grow food and I make medicine. So if you're ever unable to get to a doctor, I just might be able to help. And yeah, it's kind of important. And it's like the more people that I share my skills with, they share their skills with me. Like I said, the neighbors with, fish and bread and even though I've been making a bunch of my own, but I'm just saying. So Yeah, project love your neighbor is, I think, something that if people were really paying attention to, how can I love my neighbor more? What can I do to help you? And also, what can you do to help you? Right? Because the more you can help you, the more valuable you are at helping others. Because you not only showed that you can do something, you also showed that you know how to prioritize and make time for things that are important in life, right? We're not always going to have governments or social services or things like that to rely on, right? I mean, I literally even have codes set up with my neighbors. Like, if something happened here, I just have to text a couple letters and they know to be here with their guns. Like, you know what I mean? It's important to kind of think about those things, don't you think? What if you had a power outage? How would you save the food in your freezer? If you don't have a generator, what about a neighbor? Or do they have extra freezer space? Right? So the guy that's fixing my mower all the time, he likes melons. So it's not such a bad trade-off to get him to drive out here and fix it again. I think he I think he likes hearing from me every week. You give the small local farms lots of love. Good. You need to, because they'll love you back too. You know, we're going to remember who was there when shit was good, right? I'll just speak for myself and my situation here. Like, there were a lot of people that said they wanted to be part of. They're the people that are constantly writing on face telling you to grow a garden and, hey, you should do this, and, or we should do this, but I can't do it, or whatever. And then you give them an opportunity, like, all right, do it. The land's yours. And yeah, they don't want to follow through. And I kind of made it clear that I'm not having any harvest time friends, like, if you don't have time for me before I'm harvesting and all the food and everything's grown, then I don't have time for you after. And I guarantee when the stores are closed, there's not one single person that I've given an invite to here that I would feed. Hmm. And it's fucked up, but that's the way it has to be. Like, these are capable people. These are people with promises. These are people who, say one thing and do another while I'm doing it. Do they really expect me to do everything just to save their ass later? Like, I'm working on kind of feeding my fat ass, you know what I mean? And the few people around here that does their part, right? So again, Project Love Your Neighbor isn't a group, it's not a hierarchy, it's not a anything. Although if you wanted to make like a local group for your area, then totally go for it. Like I said, there's a few others on Facebook from when this came out back in 2012, but that was before it was erased. So the websites and all of that went away. But there's no need, right? You just have to get out there and live it. If you don't know your neighbors, go meet them. Throw a block party, right? Or even show up if you're like in a small town, go to your firehouse's pig roast or something and get to know them, right? Who are they? How can they help? I had some neighbors inadvertently help me when I had some weirdo show up, and but he was a city guy and uncomfortable with guns, and they kind of happened to be what sounded like reenacting the Civil War that day. So that worked in my favor, and I went and thanked him. And yeah, yeah, and others know, like, if they see anything weird, just stop by and act as crazy as they want. I mean, It is the Ozarks, right? I think they're more afraid of me though than the moonshiner. Yum. Yeah. All right. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. That's pretty much Project Love Your Neighbor in a nutshell. What, and think about this. What are your skills? What kind of skills would you like to have? What could you contribute? How would you feed yourself if you couldn't go to a store, or if you didn't have electricity? Because these things happen, whether we're gonna have a civil war, Great Depression, or whatever, any of that, irregardless. You know what? When I lived here, we had 11 days snowed in and an ice storm in this area that same year, same storm, because I was just across the water. Basically, I wasn't, maybe 25 or less miles as the crow flies, um, or maybe 30. I don't know, but down here they were without power for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Yeah. What about the 2 million plus people without power right now? Actually, it's higher than that now because Washington is over 100,000 out. California was like over 2 million at one point, but now with all these extra fires, now you have Oregon, Florida, Iowa. Hello, Iowa. How come nobody's talking about Iowa? 350,000. And it's hot as hell. Could you imagine not having power in this heat and humidity right now? What would you do? There's millions of people saying, oh shit, right now. Yeah. Don't be one of those millions of people. Will generators work if we get an EMP hit? I don't have enough knowledge to tell you that. So all I can say is I hope so. Um, but even if not, there's a local electrician. Like somebody knows something. Like I've known some pretty regular people that did some pretty amazing shit. So yeah, that I don't know. But what I do know is propane will work, right? And gas will work. So I personally have a generator that does both. Um, and so a propane grill would always work. A fire would always work. A solar oven would always work. Um, right. Yeah. But I'm sorry, I don't know the generator question because I have to rely on people who know that kind of stuff to help me. Because yeah, I'm the bitch in the kitchen and garden. How can we love our neighbor? What up, Derek? When we can't get within 6 feet of them or recognize them behind their mask. Dude, this is messed up. I went to go see my realtor recently and give her some cream. She had her mask on. And I looked at her and asked for her. Like, I had no idea that was her. Yeah, that was messed up. Not till she took her mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Sorry, dude. Yeah. So that's a good question. So, loving your neighbor, you don't actually have to rub up against them. So, you can still love them by staying 6 feet away, right? You can still mow their lawn. You can still give them dinner. You can still whatever. And around here, I think there's like one neighbor that is like that. He had a mask with him, um, which is weird. And he keeps his distance. He's a very normal, medicated government, big business, real or, kind of like that. But other than that, nobody does that. Like people hug, they shake hands, we drink out of the same glass, we share food, we we cough, we laugh, we sing, we stay up all night. We, you know what I mean? We put our feet on the furniture. Um, it's it's not even a concern, at least here. If it was a concern, then everything still applies, right? So let's say someone is paranoid and they're not feeling good, then drop off their food at the door, right? Um, but if they're in that type of condition, they're probably not really going to be in much of a say so position if the shit really did go down, right? I highly doubt they're going to be like, oh no, I can't touch your food because you know what I mean? Okay, then die, right? So I don't actually think any of that would ever come into play in a real situation. Um, and it's not like that here now, but you know how when people in emerge and seize in those types of crisis situations, they do work together for the first time. And people aren't like, ooh, that's blood and guts. You know what I mean? You just pick it up and clean it off and deal with it later. Um, and if it was an issue, I am pretty sure that just simply the act of helping and loving your neighbor, whatever cooties might be in those blood and guts, you would be immune to anyways, because you are performing acts in the highest of service. So, what up? Hey, Sassy. One of these days, I'm going to do a live when you're not working. Okay, I will totally try. Um, yeah. But at least they work even when I'm not, when it's not live. So thank you for stopping in. um, yeah, so I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Derek? Do you think that if there was a crisis situation that people would actually even be wearing masks or worrying about being 6 feet? Like, because kind of the way I see it, like if you need my help, you might have to touch me or be within 6 feet of me. It, you know, and I'm not buying any of those stupid hand sanitizers or anything like that. Yeah. I remember even when I lived in Branson before Russ. So a tree fell as he went over the hill and he ended up totaling his car with that. But the neighbors who weren't even really like nice neighbors at all, and they all came out and everyone was working together and it was beautiful. And like the kids were playing and it was just a good experience, even though again, like we all had each other's back, but we weren't really, they weren't coming over for dinner kind of thing. Like, here's your plate and take it home. Yeah. So I think whatever EMP or they're talking all solar flares and global warming and all this stuff. We know it's bullshit. Um, but it's not bullshit that there is going to come a time where all of us are going to lose power. And even if it's not all at the same time, like say it's only 3.5 million at a time, that's a lot of people. That's how many there's more than that out right this very minute. Yep. Um, I don't know. Personally, if I was in, say, well, just about any situation, right? If I was in an apartment or something like that, like a house that was, say, all electric or something, I would definitely invest in a propane grill. Even just a small one with two burners, right? Or even one of those stand-up ones that goes on the little propane bottle with just the one burner. Even that. Like, I survived my whole homelessness with just that. I had one pot and one pan and one burner. And when I didn't have that burner, I had a tuna can with rubbing alcohol. But that was, remember the days where you could go to the store and buy rubbing alcohol? Yeah, can't do that anymore. But that was my heat source and my cooking source for a long ass time. So I would definitely do that and probably, fill some water jugs when you can. If you're not saving every jar or bottle or whatever you get, start now and fill them up too, right? Um, do you believe that government handouts are meant to keep people from relying on each other? Good one, dude. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And that's why when, even in my homelessness, oh, Christy, we'll just go get help. They think that, the government, somebody else is going to do it. So, yeah. And hate to say it, but it's true. When people get money for nothing, it kind of, then that, well, why would I want to work to do that if I could make more sitting here? So then they don't learn a lot of skills in a lot of situations. Um, yeah, dependency is a bitch in more than one way. Like, I haven't seen it help a lot of people. I'm glad that people are able to access some government programs in situations. I've heard definitely some success stories. And then I know of people that used it for a short time and then built their life. I think that's awesome when it's used in its pure uh, essence, which really what it should be for, right? A temporary, you know, li- hand up, right? But unfortunately, it's kind of become a way of life for a lot of people. And I'm not just blaming the people though either, because the government has their hand in that too, because they make it so difficult to get off it when, I mean, if you add up your benefits on services and then add up your benefits working a minimum wage job, right? It's obviously you end out much better on government services, but you're limited to only that, right? So, and you can't have a business or follow your heart or do, if you work or work too much or don't report a day's work, then you get in trouble. It's, giving them basically a free pass to your children in your home. Yeah, I think it hurts in a lot of ways. But yeah, the whole relying on each other thing. I don't know when we lost that, but pretty much most of my life, ever since I can remember, I've been supposed to be afraid of my neighbors, because the boogeyman was going to jump out behind every bush, bus stop, everywhere, all the time. So I didn't actually grow up this way. I mean, although I was in a neighborhood and we could go borrow a cup of sugar, an egg, or a cup of oil, or things like that. Um, but yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of let me really help you kind of thing. So um, I know the people, like, even when I lived in my van and I lived in that trailer park, I rented a spot there because they had a bathroom when I had that job so I could take a shower. And the people that were getting their government checks weren't doing anything but drinking them. And then asking me, the homeless person with a van, they have these big old RVs and power and everything. And I'm like sweating in my little van and trying to hide so I could dress, and, no AC or music, yeah. I was kind of crazy. So I think it breeds helplessness. It makes people think that they're helpless, and it also makes them falsely believe that somebody cares about them. So there's my nose again. It must be the tomatoes. I don't. Okay, so people only trust experts and authorities. Loving their neighbor would require a leap of faith, right? Because we have cooties, or we're the crazy person who may have voted for someone that I don't like. Or, yeah, it's terrible. People are afraid of their neighbors in most cases these days. But we're the ones that can fix that, right? By going over and saying, hey, we're in crazy times. I think it's kind of important to get to know your neighbor right about now. My name's Christy, and here's my phone number if you ever need anything. I have an abundance of this, this, and that. And if you ever need XYZ or help with your project I see you're working on, then give me a call. So, last time I did that, I had, dang it, I can't get that right, fishing trip invites. So, yeah. All right. Not fear, worldly remnants. So, yeah. So Project Love Your Neighbor, we're not really like relying on governments, right? We're relying on ourselves and what we have to bring to the table, and what what we can do to help ourselves and others, and getting to know people in your community that have skills that you don't have, right? Share, trade, barter as much as you can. But even if you're paying cash, like I pretty much always have to do, right? You're still paying for a service and you're keeping that cash in the community. And if they believe the same thing, eventually that cash is going to get back to you, right? Because they're going to need whatever your service is at some other point, right? So start thinking that way. If you don't have skills that can operate without a job, start building them now, because there's not going to be a whole lot of jobs available. So get a skill that can pay your bills, or, without, and something that can help you be more self-sufficient and less dependent on, you know, that uncle who loves you so much. That'd be Sam. And yeah, the experts and authorities. Yeah. So I don't know where that changed, but I think around here, for the most part, people kind of respect the skill of the person. They're not too trusting of the government, like is more so prevalent in cities. Um, they just kind of do what they need to do. Nobody hurts anybody. It's a good way of life. So, yeah. But you don't really have to. I did a video, I think it was called About Trust. And somebody asked, how do you learn to trust, when you've been screwed so many times? And the truth is, you don't really have to worry about trusting others if you trust yourself, because you're always going to know what to do next, where to go, who to talk to, what to say, what not to say, right? if you trust yourself. So, also, trusting yourself is where you're going to find out where your real skills are and be able to dive deeper into talents that you may not have even known existed before, right? Also, making friends with your neighbors and offering to help them and what they do. Like, there's people that want to teach things. There's people that do need help that would love an apprentice, even a paid apprentice. And that's how I learned things. Not everything, but lots of things like roofing and tile and painting. Um, yeah. So see what they're up to, see what they can teach you, right? All right. Definitely. Providing a shoulder to lean on or an ear to beat can be a valuable skill. That's super important too. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we don't get enough of that in this world. Juice. Thanks for the good questions, by the way. Here to be a watchman. Yeah. You love your neighbor's children. Uh-oh. Wait, not like that. What's the best thing a neighbor has done for me? Dude, there's so much. Help me build a garden? How about that? That's, um I mean, they've done cool shit and given me food and, chopped a tree and stuff like that. But helping me grow food, that has to be, if not the top, in the top, but it's the top that I'm thinking of right now. I can't think of anything. Really, what better gift is there than somebody helping you be self sufficient? Right. So that's where like help and stuff, there's like a fine line because when people think of help, they, oh, I need X amount of dollars or this, but it's not always that. And if you're always given the money to like, brush everything under the rug or get past or whatever, then again, you're not really learning skills. So, like say, I want to be able to garden. And one person says, well, here's 20 grand in cash. And the other says, well, here's my labor. Let's get her done. That's the one that would be more valuable to all of us, right? I mean, it's nice to be able to have money and pay people to do things, and it's, when you have people, right? And it's great to be able to pay people to, and help them out too. So, yeah, that's great. But I don't know. I think the greatest help for me has been teaching me something, how to build something, how to use a chainsaw, um, things like that that help me not kill myself. Yeah. So, I thought it was so amazingly beautiful when the neighbors gave me their fresh food, like their fresh raised and fresh caught food. That's so beautiful. Right. But yeah, helping me build a garden, like if someone actually helped me build a garden, they get free food for life. You know what I mean? Like that's just, yeah, that's the rules. But yeah, nobody wants to help, so nobody gets it. Except for, the ones that did do stuff. Just, yeah. So, what's the most rewarding thing I've done for a neighbor? Huh. I guess you'd have to ask my neighbors. I don't even know. What would somebody say? Um, Lasagna? Healing the dude's gangrene? That might be up there, right? I saved the guy's legs. Um, there's a few things like that, I'm sure. But I don't know what people really value the most. Some people, I'm sure, there might be one that said they were grateful that I was there to talk to them. Others might be grateful that I was there to juice for them or to cook for them or to make a medicine or to serve them when they're sick. I don't, yeah, I can't speak for my neighbors and what they value the most. Um, but I don't know. I'd probably have to say saving the dude's legs would might kind of be high up on the list. I think. What if one of your neighbors steals their wow? Look at all these questions. What if one of your neighbors steals or breaks your stuff? I guess it depends. Well, steal, that's one thing, but breaks my stuff, it did they break it on purpose? Or was it an accident like while they were trying to use it? Um, or was it just purposeless uh action and yeah, so I mean if somebody steals from me, I guess it depends on what it is. But if like somebody betrays my trust, you're kind of dead to me. Although I'm stupid sometimes and I have been known to be there for people again. But I'm also kind of trying to thwart that habit as well. So the way I see it these days is if somebody breaks your trust, you really should not give them an opportunity to do it again. Because theft is something that's conscious, right? Breaking something, sometimes it happens on accident, and I don't like it. And I prefer if they replace what they broke. That doesn't happen often. Um, but armadillos, well, see, like, and if you steal too much, you might have to die. Edgardo, how's it going? Yeah, so I mean, thanks for the question. It is kind of broad though, so it's hard to say exactly what I would do. I would do anything from forgiving and asking, well, do you need more? To giving them the armadillo treatment. Cause I'm a dilla killer. So yeah, that's hard to answer. Sorry. Yeah, because I can't just say it would always be one thing because everything's different. Yeah. Oh, thank you. The parents are armadillos. Yeah, so there actually was another one couple nights ago, but they may be slowing down. There there weren't any last night. Yeah, but I sometimes, yeah. So if you steal and destroy that much, then you die, pretty much. Human or Dilla. It don't matter. Yeah. Other than that though, I don't even have anything that anyone would want to steal really. There's no TV or sound system or I don't know, stuff that people value. I have a computer, a bunch of pictures I took, a little bit of furniture. That's it. I don't have jewelry. I don't have fancy clothes, expensive shoes, or anything that people normally steal. I don't have a nice car. I don't. So I can't really imagine anyone trying to steal from me these days. Although I've definitely been, kind of scammed for a little bit of cash here and there. And that sucks. But when it comes to things like that, it's just like, whatever. I they can get away from me, but they can't get away from karma. Right? So each individual has to live with the consequences of their actions. And some people might appear to be able to get away with certain things for some time, but not really. Because even the ones that it looks like they do, what's going on behind closed doors? And what about health? What do they say? You're only as sick as your secrets. So the people with lots of secrets, they got lots of shit going on, right? And they're always having to chase a good time or chase another high or chase another exciting sex partner or chase another show or chase another, thrill, really. And that's because they're not happy, right? And your level of health is a direct reflection of you can call it karma, right? Yeah. So you are an Oh, that's so sweet. I really admire you. Always wish you the best. Your radio show really made me think and change the way I viewed the world. Oh, Edgardo, that's so sweet. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, Edgardo. I used to know a bunch of Edgars growing up, but yeah, that's really sweet. Thank you. I miss the shows and the text chat and stuff. It was definitely a good time, but it also, unfortunately, I was kind of bummed, obviously, the way it went away and being running for my life and having things destroyed and taken down and, stuff like that. That definitely wasn't pretty. But the truth of the matter was it had to end it and be rebuilt. And so I'm kind of, trying to figure out what to do there. The handwriting's on the wall. I'm not allowed to be seen or heard. My numbers still keep going down. The more videos I do, the more they penalize me. If I don't do videos, then they'll, toss me $20 to shut me up over a goat. Like, it's ridiculous. So I, but people who do appreciate my work, if you share, then maybe we can kind of get a little bit over the censorship, but not. I mean, I know I'm not for everyone. The world is never gonna accept someone like me anyways. But those who do and who are living it, or if I have been able to inspire people to change their life for the better in any way, then doesn't that count, right? Like, I don't know. I feel so grateful when I hear things like that, and or people tell me that I changed their life in whatever way, and I'm gonna start crying because it's like the best, it's the most rewarding thing ever. So, and the truth is not everybody wants to take responsibility to improve their lives because they want to just keep blaming, someone else that should be doing it for them. And that's okay too. So I realize even if YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that weren't um, suppressing or shadow banning or whatever, even if they weren't doing that, I definitely would never be a household name, and I'm totally okay with that. And thank you so much for the kind words. DJ, what up? Oh, you've been watching the health and wellness videos. Cool. Thank you. They're older. A lot of some things. So this channel existed because a listener did it, and they initially it was to just upload radio shows, and then all my other talk was on the other channel, and created videos and stuff like that. But um after I was erased, then my friend, who's now dead, got to take it over. Then the other friend, and then by the time I had a new computer and a new phone and all of that stuff, and because I was banned, I wasn't even allowed to access YouTube on my phone. Then I got a new phone and I was able to work around that. So then I got access to this account and then started uploading. And that was in my homeless period. Um, so yeah, it's kind of weird. The channel's been around for a long time and a lot of different phases, but there were 12 channels that were more um, cohesive that used to exist, along with 3 or 4 other Facebook pages with my whole history. So yeah, I didn't even get back on there until September. Wow, exactly like 5 years ago. Um, and I'm banned most of the time, so whatever. And when I'm there, I'm not like if I compose something about a kitty, or like say I want to rant or say something, shitty, then everyone in the world's there. But then if I teach something like gardenias can cure cancer or whatever, then nobody sees it. Or anything inspirational, nobody sees it. Trying to help the fire victims, nobody sees it. I don't know. So, well, I'm glad you appreciate that playlist. Very cool. So, STFU now. Sorry, my son's nonverbal. Okay. Aw, Edgardo, thank you. He said oh, I'm gonna blush. I don't even know if I can say that many nice words in a row. A fantastic, beautiful living soul. You have done so much for many people, including me. Thank you for your courage and never giving up. Are you still friends with Tobias Lars? Those shows with him were amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, giving up really isn't an option. And I would love to see more people also feel the same. Um, Friends with Toby. That's not actually, yeah, no. Remember when everyone abandoned me and my homelessness? Yeah, that. And they didn't just abandon, they abandoned, blamed, shamed, did the exact opposite of everything that we heard on the show together. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's probably 90% of the guests I had. So onward and upward. But I was still naive and trusting the wrong people. I had, I tried. I tried to give my power away to all the experts. And it was a really good lesson. And we did have amazing shows together. Honestly, like if we were doing shows like that, and especially all this time, I mean, they were the best. They're way better than I can do alone, and they're way better than he can do alone. We had a really good chemistry together because he was happy being the expert and teacher, and I was happy being the student and trying to slow them down so that we could absorb, right? Um, but at the end of the day, the people I have remained in contact with are the people that are who they say they are, and practice what they preach. And the rest, I just don't think we have time for these days. I personally, even though it was super rough and feeling, abandoned, betrayed, things like that, ultimately it was better because now I know who I can jump in a foxhole with. And that's a way better gift than knowing now than finding out after the fact. So, I mean, he's a great teacher. I'm not trying to talk shit at all. He did say at one point he did want to talk about this, but then he chickened out. So that's all right. I don't, whatever. If everything that we talked about was real, it would be really cool. Uh, yeah, that was a really tough few years there. And once I was homeless, I didn't have anything to offer. And that's kind of what I was saying before. Like, no more harvest time friends. I promoted all these people, they didn't promote me back. Their banners were on my sites, on my channels, on my shows, and like, you know what I mean? I purposefully, but they didn't have me on their sites. They didn't talk about me in their videos or their shows or their anything. I was just basically used as a platform for people to promote their shame and blame new age, bullcrap pretty much, or narcissistic egos, or, in some cases, there were people like doing NLP, like live on the air and like energy harvesting and draining people listening. There was some messed up shit in that radio world. Yeah, it's a shame. But awesome experience. So, yeah. And, really, like, I guess you've been around for a while, but who, what were people saying in 2010 and what are they saying now? And what are they doing? Do the actions match the words? Or is it just the same words? Or is it different words over and over that don't relate at all with the words then? Like, and that's what I look at now, especially after all these years being out there. There's people that are still talking about the exact same thing. And like nothing's changed. And that's not normal to talk about the exact same thing 10 or 15 years and not ever sway, right? It's just not normal. And then there's those that are complaining about the same illness or complaining about the same family problem or complaining about the same spiritual or whatever problem, right? And haven't actually done it. Or the people that, they'll even do shows about gardening or food, but they don't garden or grow food or live off grid or, so at this point in my life, yeah, I can only be around people who do what they say what they mean, follow through. And yeah, no Judas, right, Sunny? Exactly. Yeah, but again, there's no like, I'm so grateful because that was a tough school and he was a really good teacher, as were some of the others. So I certainly would not be where I am today without any of that. So I wouldn't change any of it. Not one bit. Looks like I got a bite. Better get my cream on. So there are a couple more testimonials over at mytrueessence.net for anyone interested in learning more about my medicinal skincare line that's helping people with everything from gangrene to alopecia to ticks to congestive heart failure and much, much more. So, but yeah. So, and also, I would just like, I'm going to kind of wind down here, unless you have any more questions. But yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to get out there, love your neighbor, be, build the community that you want, right? Don't wait for anyone else to. If you don't know your neighbors now, get out there, introduce yourself, bring them a loaf of bread or something you made or whatever, or don't. Just show up and say hi and give them your phone number. And hopefully, you get to build a little relationship, learn more about each other, see what each other does. When you make your shopping list or you have your list of needs of everything you need, then check with your neighbors first, pay your neighbors first, trade, barter with your neighbors first before you go buy your groceries, before you go hire, you know, some dude that works for some company, right? Like, I'm sure there's people out of work in your neighborhood that would enjoy getting a couple extra hours or days or whatever of work and being able to use their artistic skill or talent, right? Um, so, yep, check with your neighbors first. If if they have a skill, ask them to teach you. Tell them you'll pay them or do their grunt work or, clean up the barns or clean their fish. Or that's how I learned to fish, right? Like, hey, can I clean those? Well, yeah, you'll have to teach me how. So that's how that worked. More Jellins. Is that a question like, can you fix it? Or Aiden, what up? I'm not a hottie. I'm going to ask you again. Like, there's not one decision I ever make in my life to try to make myself look hot. I prefer to be known for who I am, not what one caveman happens to, if I delight his fancy or not. Like, I think it's kind of condescending. And because I've been telling you for years, so just be like, what up? How about that? Or how are you? Question mark. Like, I don't need nicknames that, yeah. So I'm a great farmer. There you go. You can call me Farmer Girl. Just kidding. You actually don't need to call me anything. Oh. So in regards to Margellans, if you're asking me, there are people that have had success with essential oils. I have a whole bunch of links from PubMed.gov that show that certain oils like lemongrass can kill Lyme disease, and other ones that kill all these different types of bacterias. Um, so one person that I sent an oil to that had Morgellons ended up clearing it up, but she also quit using sugar. So there's that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend essential oils, especially like trees is what comes to mind. So lemongrass is good too, but like trees and herbs. So like a pine, a cypress, a eucalyptus, or a basil, oregano, definitely, thyme, rosemary. They are badass medicine. So, yeah, wash your skin with that, keep the oil on it, but it can kill pretty much everything that isn't supposed to be there. Um, lion's mane mixed with elderberry tincture. John Lipscomb was a guest on your show. Would you buy heirloom seeds from him? Wow, I'm getting grilled tonight. Okay. Well, I mean, uh, I don't see why I wouldn't. I have pretty much I got seeds from him before in the past. And if my seed box wasn't stolen, I might have still had some of his seeds. But all my seeds are brand new. If he had seeds that I wanted, yeah, I would buy seeds from him. If you're fishing, yeah, there's no problems that I know of. He did a really good job with that business. He made like 2.2 million or something after like the second season. It was like barely a year and a half. And him and his wife and daughter worked their asses off. They lived like in a little trailer and tent while they built their house. And I was there. My kids have been there, and we hung out. In fact, that goat video that Google lets people see if I'm not doing videos, that was actually at his homestead in Kansas. So, so Aiden, all right. I mean, I was gonna kind of wind down and stuff, but since a few people have come on right now, I'll just like, what are you doing to love your neighbor? What are your skills? What would you do if you didn't have power or if you couldn't go to a store to buy food? Are you thinking about those things? Like, do you know your neighbors? Do you have a good community where you got each other's back? If not, are you building one? Like, let's see what you're. I want to hear what you guys are doing. Everybody knows what I'm doing, and that's boring. I'm bored of me. I live with me. Like, I want some excitement because nothing in my life is exciting. Just kidding. If you only knew. Not a very good community. My dad has two neighbors. She knows one is moving out, one is cool. Dad's planting in the backyard, planting for winter. All right. So, how come you're not planting anything? Like, what are you going to do if, say, you couldn't go to a store in December or November? What if there were no stores ever again? What would you eat? Would you run to the government? Would you rob your neighbors? Would you mainly flowers with the tomatoes? So, are you doing something different about that, Aiden? Like, kind of thinking about that? Edgardo, for sure, dude. It's ridiculously weird and crazy. But I'm so grateful. Like sometimes I think, oh man, can it just be boring for a minute? But then like inside I'm like, who am I kidding? You know, maybe I chose this, maybe not. I know I'm a double nine, nine of clubs, nine of spades, which is pretty chaotic, all about endings. And then with my Virgo, Sag, Pisces, Gemini square, and my whole chart, um, I don't have really any trines. So I am lazy. I got to do more action and planning than just talking about it. Yeah. Okay. So that's some self awareness. So now we need to just move that towards the self responsibility. Um, so, it kind of is the time where talking doesn't really cut it anymore. And food doesn't grow overnight. It's a skill. It's something you need to keep doing and keep practicing and keep doing more. The good news is nature does most of the work, right? So basically, all you have to do is not kill it. Like that's really that's a gardener's job. Just don't get in mommy's way and don't kill the plants. So I mean, because really, for the most part, when you're growing outdoors, Mother Nature does everything. I mean, yeah, you'll have to water here and there and dry spells and stuff. But even one of my beds didn't get watered because the hose wasn't long enough at one point. And that bed came out like so super healthy. So nature had enough rain for it. And that bed was much deeper. So it had more access to water. But really, that's our job as gardeners is just don't fuck it up, right? Don't kill it. So, and it's if the leaves are yellow, they mean this. If they're brown, they mean that. If it's brittle, it means this. If you see this kind of bug, it means that. So you just kind of learn as you go. Don't worry about having all the answers before you go do something. You know what I mean? Put the seeds in the ground or in the pots and let nature teach you how to do it, right? So, I mean, it totally talks to you. If you can't tell when a plant's thirsty, I mean, it literally, it's like, and you give it water and it perks right up. And if you give it too much water, it's like really sad and gets really yellow. And, so you kind of learn to just kind of be in sync, or better yet, you can figure out like natives, right? What grows in your land native, which means that it won't need very much care, if any at all, right? Fruit trees or nuts or some kind of self-sustaining vines or squash, or and if you plant your squash like late in the year, then you won't really have to fight the squash bugs, because they usually only come out at that one time. So, um, and thank you, Edgardo. So, yeah, I think it's time to get past thinking about that. It's time to like get shit done, no more talk, just do. Get to know your neighbors. What can you offer them? What can they offer you? Everyone doesn't have to do everything, but everyone can do something. And you should do more of that, right? And whatever that is based on your skills or what makes your heart sing. Like, what do you really feel connected to? What do you really feel like is your purpose? What do you really get joy in your heart creating, doing, whatever? Oh, your Chinese neighbor gives you dumplings. That's awesome. What do you give them? Oh, dude, getting ethnic food from like a real, ethnic person, that's freaking awesome. I miss my Asian neighbors and like their fresh lumpia. Like, I'm a damn good magical cook, but I can't make it taste like them. There's no way. And it sucks because that's some good shit. And I can't move back to the coast. Yeah, so what are you gonna give him? That's really sweet. See? So people do still reach out. Oh, you're not sure. Well, I don't know. Didn't you say you were making deodorant or toothpaste or something like that? Why don't you make them something like that? Or a nice jelly out of whatever weeds growing in your yard. You tried deodorant and it crumbled. It was pathetic. I don't understand why you couldn't have just watched my video. I did it in a tent, which shows how easy it is. But whatever. Do it your way. Tease me and go do the opposite and then complain about it. Really, you weren't aware of my homeless healthcare videos. Come on, dude. You made fun of me the whole time I lived in a tent and vans, plural. Those videos were coming up at the same time. So check it out. Homeless healthcare is the name of that playlist. And well, priorities. So hopefully you're focused more on building a better life than going back to the same path that obviously has not been very fulfilling according to your own words and actions. So I care, that's why I am still around. I want everyone to have this same level of ease and peace and comfort and freedom and health, but you're not going to get there by making fun of the teacher. So, and it doesn't make you evil, because if you were evil, I would have blocked you and never looked back. But you do got some fucking serious problems, man. And I'm still like shaking my head, like, you watched me heal, but you wanted to make fun instead of heal yourself. So the choice is yours. If you want to live a long, full, happy life, then you have to make changes. If you don't make changes, then that's because you prefer to hate yourself and live in misery until you die, which fortunately won't be very long at this rate with these transits in everything coming up here. So people who aren't following their heart, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're going to die. Period. It's not me. I'm not the karma deliverer. I'm not anything. I'm just a messenger that was suppressed for 15 years for a reason. Yeah. So yeah, time to take care of business. Aiden, how'd you like my God Bless America song? I really want to know. And if you didn't see it, you have to go watch it right now after I shut this video down. And then you have to leave a comment and tell me how you liked it. And I know you're going to make fun of it. You're going to hate it. I'm going to love it. But you're going to sit through it and you're going to be like, God, she's such a dork. Oh my God, what a terrible singer. Oh, look at that funny facial expression. Oh, you look like a boy with a funny mouth. And oh, you really need to have a bra. But if you didn't do that and you actually just like listen to the words and tried to notice the subtleties in my non-performance performance, then you might enjoy it. And yes, it's okay to laugh at me because I was being ridiculous. So, yes, God Bless America 2020. You need to go check it out. Moose! Oh, I love having so many moose friends. That's so cool. What's the title, please? I'll find it now. God Bless America 2020. Let's all say it together now, boys and girls. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Edgardo. But really, don't you want to be happy and healthy? And like, like it's crazy because you think when I'm teasing you that I'm like getting mad at you or that I'm like putting you down, and I'm really trying to encourage you. So you're super lucky I'm not your drill sergeant, because I can be a big ass scary bitch. Like super scary, like in ways that you could never imagine right now. But I can shapeshift, motherfucker. So yeah. Yes, and I use it when necessary. All right. So Aiden found the God Bless America 2020 video. So promise me you're going to watch it and leave a comment, love it or hate it. And tell me how much you hate it too, really. Because you're kind of funny when you're like that. Yeah. Full spectrum human. That's why yeah. You know, we all are. We got to get out of that. I have to be this one thing. Like, I could make you cookies, but yeah, then I could turn around and kill, you know? We all do. So, with your hands or your dollars, already did that show. But yeah. And Aiden, like, after that video, I got asked to go sing for some Broadway musical. It was called I Saw Aiden Touching Santa Claus. Okay, no, really, it's great. And the lyrics, if you need the lyrics, there's a link to the lyrics in the description of that video. So, yeah. I mean, to me, like, love is truth. So I never try to hurt anyone. But if you're asking me what's up and the truth happens to be something you don't like, it's still going to come out of my mouth. So sorry. I mean, dude, I say it to me too. So I have to check myself all the time. I hope you're all checking yourself every day, right? And really, there's no like the world wastes so much time trying to compete with others. And the only competition that really matters is being your best you, becoming better today than you were yesterday, or whatever you learn today, you practice tomorrow. That's really like compete with yourself, be the best you, even try to become a you thought you never could be. Why not? Maybe it could be. Congrats on the Broadway music offer. Oh my God, Aiden. Children, you're not supposed to take anything I said. Well, that, seriously, that was a really dumb joke. And when you see the video, you'll understand why. It's a damn shame you haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure you'll tease me about it next time. And I'm supposed to be allowed back on Facebook either tomorrow night or the next morning. So, um, yeah, I hope you love it. Okay, so any questions about Project Love Your Neighbor for anyone? Because it's already a little longer than I planned on being here. No Nazi cunt comments. Yeah, no, I'm not allowed to call them Nazi cunts, apparently. And I'm not allowed to stand up to a mask shamer. So chances are I'll be banned again. And I don't know. Nazi cunt's my new favorite word. And people who try to hurt me and bully me, I don't know. I mean, and I didn't even say anything like, I mean, I'm like joking when I deal with these fuckers. Like, I can't even, like, what would happen if I actually got mad? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I'm not really allowed to say anything. So the bans have been good for me, really, because yeah, I have no clue what to say. I I don't know how to say anything that's socially acceptable in these days and times. So I probably need like a manager or something to kind of like speak for me. Yeah. Like I need a script writer. What does mask shamer means? The goody two shoes going around telling everybody that you need to hurt yourself and not breathe oxygen to make them feel safe. And if you don't, you're a terrible human. I'm just taking the moral high ground here. Yeah. Like that one dude in the group was, I mean, dude, it's so set up, but they're always going to be after me. I mean, I make a difference. That's the thing. My life does matter. Like, I actually do keep creating solutions. I have shown people a way to heal themselves without big pharma, to help themselves without government handouts, to do all the things that, to actually be free and know real God without religion. Not supposed to do that in this world. You know what I mean? So, yep, they don't want people freeing themselves. But, it is your job to free yourself. That is our purpose here, right? And you're not going to have your purpose or even discover what it is without taking the steps to free yourself. So, I mean, technically, I can't save anyone, anyways. So, I might as well just shut the fuck up, be a good little girl, know my place, be seen and not heard. Yeah. Yeah. In days of old, when toilets were not invented, you would leave your load upon the road and walk away contented. Oh my God. In days of old, when knives are bold and toilets were not invented, you would leave your load upon the road and walk away contented. You typed that twice. Okay. I'm not above potty humor. But yeah, get a shovel, dude. Like, dig a hole. Yeah. Poop in the ground, not on it. Yeah. And then grow your watermelons on top of it. All right, guys. I'll give it like a couple more minutes here. And if there's any more questions about Project Love Your Neighbor or anything else, then yeah, you got a couple more minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to cut it and go drink some more juice. And yeah, any other questions you have, just feel free to email me and I'll be scheduling another live probably within the next few days. Um, yeah. And I'll try, I think I gave it a couple hours in advance this time. I don't know if that works out better for you guys or not. But also take a look at my myteressence.net and the new, in fact, let me get that one video testimonial I got today. And yeah, the chick's alopecia and stuff. She had it her whole life and now it's gone. I think that's pretty important. And yeah, it's just so criminal that people aren't allowed to know that I make this and that people could end their suffering in a really nice, beneficial, harmless way. So I just put a video in the chat that I uploaded earlier today with the testimonial from the woman and her family that it's helped for multiple things. And thank you so much, Edgardo. Okay. Oh, and Hugh, how's it going? Branch Covidians. I love that. Of course, everyone shows up when I need to go cuddle with my kitties. But yeah, I think it's really important to bring back Project Love Your Neighbor and really start kind of thinking that way. I would like to encourage people to do more of what you love to do and get out there, introduce yourself to your neighbors, right? Go offer to help them with whatever and see what you can do, because I do feel that the time is coming soon where that's going to be necessary. I mean, we've already had food rationing. The prices of food has skyrocketed. The quality has taken a nosedive. You know, availability of things is less and less. So even grow, just if you want a bigger variety, but find out who does. Support your neighbors, support your farmers if you want them to support you. So yeah, and everyone, any skills, painters, carpenters, electricians, builders, tilers. I know that's not a word. Whatever. You know, people who sew, people who babysit, people who paint, right? And what are your skills? What can you offer them? So hire them before you hire a corporation. Go to them to get what you need, produce, meat, dairy, etc., before you go to a corporate grocery store. And let's keep it in the family, right? Keep your money circulating in the family. Or, you know, again, if you could trade and barter, great. But even if you're paying cash, you're still paying that. You got to pay someone cash. So at least you're paying your neighbor, right? So, oh, dude. Oh, Peace Dealer, what up? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so sweet. Nobody ever get, no. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, how is your neighborhood, dude? I know you moved recently, and I hope you're super happy and content and have cool neighbors that, you know, you guys can get together and do shit. You know what I mean? Skill share, trade skills. We all know you got skills. So I'll tell you what, in my compound, Peace Dealer is going to be there. Um, and I'll still be the medicine woman and making the food and, you know, animal whisperer shit. But everybody has a skill or five, and that's the whole point of getting to know your neighbors, what everyone can do, and how you can work together. Dude, right on. You met a producer and you're working on music together. That's awesome. Excellent. Dude, I love your music. I love everything about you, though, really. And if by some chance there's somebody on this video that does not know who he is, go to his channel, The Peace Dealer. He is hands down one of the best astrologers. He's more than that, though. Um, he's one of the wisest young sages. In fact, so wise, like even more wise than he knows yet. And most of his listeners, but this dude taps into shit and can explain it eloquently in ways that no one can. Well, him, Leo King, dude, he rocks too. Equal gifts, and their ability to see and tell truth. So, and as I always say, if you want to know more about yourself, learn about astrology. Who are you, right? Sometimes we can't see ourselves when we're in the fishbowl, but when you're reading it in a book or having a session with an actual professional, not like, you know, there's a lot of scammers out there. So, but anyone who's been around and knows me knows that I promote people I believe in only. And whether you've heard me on my show or my videos or Facebook or whatever, Peace Dealer is the fucking shit. Like, I am so proud of you. I really I don't even know why I'm saying that because not that you care. But if I was your mommy, no, but you are my little bro. But I just want to say I am so proud of you and how you've grown and how you've really stepped into your power and just, really owned your knowingness. And yeah, dude, yeah, Peace Dealer fucking rocks. Seriously, check out his channel. He does like dailies when his computer's not broken. He does weeklies, monthlies. Go back and listen to his other videos. Like, it's some game name, like World War Zero or something like that. I'm not familiar with all the cool, hip, trendy gaming stuff, but he nailed it. Like, even when we went into the Saturn 3 year ago videos that he made will be relevant today. So again, if you don't have a favorite astrologer, there he is. Okay, no, but seriously, thanks for showing up, man. That's cool. It's really good to see you. A celebrity donation. How cool. Totally. Joe Stacks. My neighbors appear to hate me without a cause. When I help them, they grunt and make sounds that are used as triggers. Well, if they hate you, I mean, do you know that? Or like, are they doing things to make you actually feel that? And because if they are, then why would you want to be there? And because I do talk about trauma a lot and I have my own stories and my own of mistrust and things like that, where I thought people hated me, then didn't, is it possible that you could also have some feelings of insecurity or shame or fear that are unsubstantiated? And I'm not trying to minimize your experience. I don't know anything about it. I'm just trying to point out both sides because it's been both for me before. But when I'm truly sure that somebody hates me, then I'm like, that's cool. I don't make it a habit to go to places I'm not wanted. That's just me. And it makes me feel a lot better because then now I have that time to either improve myself and really go project love my neighbor, right? Or go preserve some of my harvest to love a neighbor in the future or learn another skill, etc. So, um, stacks, yeah. So I'll wait till I hear your answer about that. But yeah, peace dealer, real truth. Exactly. Yeah, there's not a lot out there, man. I mean, and you guys that have seen me on here for 15 years, I've been through a few not real ones. This dude's a real deal. Yeah. Okay, what state? Okay, the more I ignore, the more they do. Oh, I see. Okay. So let me wait till I see another question in regards to that before, or statement before I respond. But our share of neighborly problems. TW, hi, hello. I have a question. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate place. Is there a way to contact you directly, or should I post the question here? I'm still here, so I guess you could post it here and I'll do my best to answer. And then my email is just ChristyAphrodite@gmail. I'm Christy Aphrodite everywhere. So 22, yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, and then it's an 8 altogether. I like that. Okay, so right, yeah. So I was Peace Talk number 108. And of course, it's a 9 because I'm a 9, of course. But that was totally random. And we had to reschedule it a couple times. Yeah. So, computer gremlins and all that fun stuff. But so, Joe, if they have been that way for years, why are you still there? and not to like, beat you up or, anything like that. But I used to stay like leaving my hometown was not easy. You know what I mean? But I was not wanted. And there what dude, that was insane. Like I had to wear freaking lead blankets, okay? Cops or other agencies at the door every day. The videos of me getting shot in the eye with those laser weapons by the cops at my door after they already put me in a wheelchair. That was freaking intense. My children getting beat up, trying to light my house on fire, killing my pets, leaving them on my doorstep. There's only so much one can take, really, before I mean, you can either go or you can keep getting re-traumatized. And there are some, there might be some no turning back points when it comes to high states of trauma constantly. I mean, I lived that, like in my homelessness and getting chased out everywhere, and that, it wasn't easy. And I'm not trying to make light of it at all. But if so, what's keeping you from leaving and trying to start somewhere else in a place where they don't know you or anyone who would want to follow you couldn't? Um, and so for me, that's one of the reasons I had to stay homeless. I built a tent in the mountains, a tent, hay bale tent dome. Pimp my tent is the hashtag. You can see it here on YouTube if you want. I lived in moldy sheds. I lived in 2 different vans. I lived in off grid farms, multiple. So, and times I was in a different rest area every night or a different campground or, forest time. So for me, I knew that that was the only way to really get away and have a chance at getting my grounding and regaining my strength. So I would just suggest to anyone else living in that situation to also do the same thing. Find your peace wherever it is, whether it's in the forest or Costa Rica or wherever, right? And just get there, just do it. People are messed up, right? If you're being stalked, and I know what they do. I was facing 56 years. I had my children kidnapped. I had my entire life destroyed. So I do know how evil and dark it can be. But even as a single mother, even in a wheelchair, I still had the balls to get away. I just disappeared in the middle of the night. So if your situation, is that bad, I'd really love to encourage you to get out so that you can start healing yourself. Because, yeah, those high states of trauma, I don't even know how I did it, honestly. It's like when I look back at my videos, I'm like, wow, that's fucked up. How'd you do that? You know what I mean? It's, and even running away and planning and being in the, none of it's easy. But then again, it is, because when it's the right thing to do, it is the easy thing to do. Okay. What's not easy is staying in pain. What's not easy is staying in a traumatized state where people are out to get you. Right. So do what you need to do, get the hell away, rebuild your life. If somebody was going to tell me 4 years ago, or especially 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that I would be sitting here today in my own freaking 13 acres with a view, building, literally living my dream, building my food forest, like, all, I wouldn't have believed it. Like, oh no, it doesn't work like that. I'm a target. I have no money. I have no credit. I'm blah, blah, blah. Right. So, as I did in my video, it's called Beyond Belief. It doesn't matter really what you believe. Okay. So, just move forward in what your heart knows, what your heart truly desires, and the rest is going to work itself out. Even if you have to choose not having a home, right? Even if you have to choose not having a paycheck, do what you need to do to feed your soul, and I guarantee the rest will fall in place. So I hope that it gets better for you. But obviously, based on the comments I've already read, it's not going to get better by doing what you're doing now and staying in the same place, right? So get out, follow your heart, thank them for the lesson, right? Energetically, I don't mean go over to their house, just like hightail it. Fuck you, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's my advice there. Okay, let's see. Um, okay, I met a guy who's absolutely perfect, but he has a well bit of a small penis. He's vegan, into Reiki, and everything I've dreamed of, but it's not working out. What would you do? Is the body that important, or am I being shallow? Oh man. I'm sorry to laugh. I'm not laughing at your pain, but I've been there. Are you being shallow? Probably not. You know what you like, right? You know what feels good. You know what fits. Try sticking a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't really work. There's different sizes of screws, just like there's different sizes of jars of cream. There's different sizes of fingers. There's different sizes of asses, of heads, of nose, of ears, or whatever. And people are attracted to what they're attracted to. So if you're not attracted to that, you can't make yourself be. If you are, and the only problem is the size, well, then there's lots of toys and there's hands and there's other things. So, yep, that's all I got to say there. All right. I believe they're committing acts against me with alternative motive. However, I try to represent my race in a God fashion, in hopes, maybe good fashion, in hopes that it will change their view. So it sounds like whatever's going on with you is race related. Well, then definitely walk away. Like, okay, I moved to another state and it continues. All right. You're welcome. Looking like the plan. It's certainly a more comfortable looking. Yeah, it is. Hey, Hyro, how's it going? Yeah, a little bit more cut, just a little bit, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a pretty crazy testament to staying true to your heart no matter what. I quit fighting them, right? I didn't waste time with that, fighting them or revenge. People get lost in that. I focused only on me. In fact, even Aiden in here, like there were times I had to yell at him, I don't have time for your games. I'm busy building a life. Like, get out of my way. And I meant it. And here I am. So if I can do it, anyone can. And that's an absolute fact. So, but you have to stay true to your priorities. You have to stay true to your soul path. You cannot give in to peer pressure on any level, not for any reason, not for a paycheck, not for a reputation, and you'll be in with the cool crowd or whatever. Can't. Yeah. Yeah. You don't think you pay for payoffs, right? We're human beings. My isolation is often blamed on me. It's often said that it's my choice to be isolated as opposed to being around people who do so called normal things. Who cares what anyone else thinks, really? I love isolation. And like one of my best friends, he loves isolation. it's kind of hard, when you're first getting used to it. And, but when you're really immersed in the all oneness of the situation and realizing that you're not alone and that you're basically in this classroom. So, how can I utilize this particular experience? Who cares what anyone says? Whoever's blaming you for anything needs to get the fuck out of your life, right? Anyone blaming, shaming, guilting, gaslighting, get rid of them. Treat them like the armadillo, okay? Because I'm the dilla killa. And it's just always going to be that way. And here's the thing about bullies. I've done videos on this too. So check my channel and like type in bully or whatever, or how to win every fight. But bullies don't back down until you fight back. Period. End of story. The playing nice, the sending them love, that doesn't work. You need to fight with your energy, okay? And really you don't even have to do that. You really I've talked before about putting like little barriers and use the old childhood rhyme. I'm rubber, you're glue, bounces off me and sticks to you, right? So whatever kind of bubble you're putting around yourself, say a granite rubber mirror, then let it just all go back. You don't waste your time in trying to fight any of this. Let these idiots be who and what they are. You win by going forth and being who and what you are, because your sole purpose in life, the only reason you're here is to follow your heart. Do you know why they're here? It's to stop you, it's to distract you from following your heart. So you only win when you get past the distractions, you stop their little insignificant bullshit flea and army ant wars, and move on, right? So that's my advice. Like anyone who's stuck in some kind of battle like that, like know that they're doing that to stop you, okay? Maybe they know how great you are. Maybe that's why they're trying to stop you. But either way, that's their purpose. They, whoever the theys are in everyone's life, their purpose is to stop you. Your purpose is to not be stopped and keep moving forward. So, yeah, just get rid of them, erase them, poof, treat it like Facebook, block, don't completely treat them like an armadillo because that might be illegal. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Knew before I got here, not permanent. She's a fighter. I'd love you as a neighbor, Joe. I was bullied as a child. It warps the rest of your life. It does not stop in adulthood. Kind of true, but I mean, I was bullied my whole life too, like running home from elementary school crying, like really bad. And when I believed it was always that way, that's the way it always was. And I'm not trying to blame you and say that you brought it on because of your beliefs. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that once I realized that and those patterns, and then consciously worked on changing it, starting with myself, and, why was I continuing the punishment for other people, right? By not believing in myself. And I realized a lot of times, sometimes they were reflections of how I felt about myself. So as I went further along the path and gained more confidence, I think it automatically started emitting. But how can I say this? I don't know anyone stupid enough to come and try to bully me at this point in my life. It would be completely ineffective in every way. And so that's where the work on yourself comes in. So it totally hurts being bullied. It hurts being shamed and picked on and ostracized and all of that stuff. But when you really look at it, who's bullying you? Who's ostracizing you? They're pieces of fucking shit And why would you even want to belong to that crowd, anyways, right? So give thanks that they're gone. Thank you for showing, thank them, at least energetically, for showing you who they are, and then build your life around them, right? Like a way they don't even, and don't have anyone in your life. If somebody just, if you're in a random location, there's some random person, great, avoid them. If there's somebody that's in your life that's bullying you, get the hell away. Use it to make you stronger, right? Give thanks and find out who you really are, because once you know, you can't be bullied, you can't be shamed. I don't think there's any motherfucker stupid enough to come and try to bully me in any way, shape, or form at this time in my life. So I do believe that you can definitely get over it, Hugh. Um, but yeah, it doesn't really stop because there's always a bully, right? Somebody with a little narcissistic ego and perhaps a little pee, as TK brought up earlier, maybe, and a really big truck. But yeah, so just avoid that and focus on yourself, and then look honestly at yourself and how you might be feeling that you deserve to be bullied or punished, right? So a lot of us, when we don't want to be part of the herd, we have been shamed and bullied so long that we blame ourselves, right? I mean, my best friend, he's almost 60 years old, and he's just barely finding out that he was right the whole time. But society had him blaming himself the whole time. And I'm sure that that's what's going on, because you would only be getting bullied if you're awesome. Nobody bullies people less than them, okay? They bully people they fear. They bully people they're jealous of. They bully people that have gifts that they wish they could have, okay? So just know that. Thank him and be on your merry way. Aw, Derek. Oh, man, what a night. Thank you so much for your donation. Oh, that is really sweet. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Not like an armadillo. Do 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 do. Do do an armadillo. Okay. And when I swell up and get like 3 feet taller, the police are called, and the police manipulate the records and omit facts that are favorable to me. Yeah, it sounds like you just need to get out of there. If you're in that never ending fight with the neighbor cop thing back and forth, you just have to go. Just cut your losses, get the fuck out, and go live your life on your terms. You deserve it, and you can do it. So, and yeah. Okay. Most people are like zombies, exactly like the movies. Be careful, don't try to alter them. They only want to bite you and make you one of them. Dude, you nailed it, Hyro. Yeah, it is. Exactly. Exactly like the movies. Yeah. Yeah. So don't do it. That's why they want to bully, shame, manipulate, gaslight. Okay. Because that's all they have. So, really, ultimately, only you can allow them to stop you from your path. They can't stop you. They don't have the power. They do not have the creativity. They can't do it. All they can do is try to convince you to quit, or try to convince you that you're not good enough. Okay? Don't let them do it. I I had a few opportunities to give up, didn't I? You know what I mean? Don't do it. Even as ugly and dark and bleak as that was in 15 and 16, and I still kept going. Even just that little bit of forward movement was enough to get me here. Please remember that when you are deciding how to best use your time. Should I fight with these people in this really dumb game, or should I use this time to enrich myself? So I hope you get out of there super soon. And I want to hear the good news when you get out and your life is shaping up in the way that you want it to be. All right. Aiden's donating a hug. Oh, well, I remember in the old days you used to have cooties, but now I think you got the COVIDs. Okay, I'm a dork. That means I'm done. So, yeah, unless any more questions come in by the time I say goodbye. But yeah, I do these live videos end up being too long and going into all sorts of different topics instead of just the main topic, but that's okay. So, and if you have questions you want me to like schedule a whole video on, just send them to my email, christyaphrodite@gmail.com. And then my site is christyaphrodite.com. There's lots of great articles, blogs, videos, recipes, lots of health information. Um, one of the writers on there has been doing an MK Ultra blog series, which is fantastic. Literally starting from the beginning and kind of laying it out for us from Pepsi and Coke to Frito-Lay. So check that out, christyaphrodite.com. And then mytrueessence.net is my healing skincare if you want to learn more about that. Again, even if you're not like looking to buy anything, I want you to look at it because I put a whole bunch of PubMed links, pubmed.gov. So the government database telling you all these things heal cancer, lupus, depression, heart disease, autoimmune, breast cancer, so I can't say that, but they can say that. So I put the links to that, and I think everybody should have access to that information. So that's why I put it there. Yeah, I think the more you are of the truth, Joe, then we all find ourselves in the same situation. Yeah, that's the truth path. And that's the truth about the truth path. It's not this like furry, fluffy rainbow lollipop, journey that's all about like sex and yoga and trance music and raves. That's ridiculous. It's not peaceful. Anyone on the real path of truth will pretty much lose everyone they thought they knew in their lives. You will regain a new tribe, but that solo walk is part of it, even if you spend most of that solo walk hating it and wondering why me. So eventually you'll realize why you, and you'll realize it's because you were chosen, because you were one of the very few real humans left. Okay. And don't take that lightly. I'm not exaggerating. There's not a lot of real humans left. So, you know what? If you are being bullied, it's because you're being recognized. And if you don't know what they're afraid of, then go find out. And you'll only find that by following your heart and serving yourself, your spirit, your soul path. Mm-hmm. Do what makes your heart sing. Do what makes you want to jump for joy, and do more of it and share more of that. And eventually, those people in that hell dimension, they just disappear. Poof. Don't give them your energy because that only cements their games and makes them real. So, all right. That was fun and a little bit longer. So I'm going to go and I will be back soon. And I want to thank you all for being here and thank you for your awesome questions and for your very sweet donations. Oh, that was so cool. Oh man, yeah. Thank you. And yeah, I totally hope to see you again. And yeah, any personal questions or whatever topics that you want in a future video, just send to my email or, one of the sites that you can contact me on. So have a good night. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.